Welcome back to All Things Pink, where we discuss all things women over 40. And yay, it's Thanksgiving week. What an awesome time of year. And we are in full throttle holiday season mode. So today we're going to be talking about gratitude. Out in the open, to the horizon, where your heart can finally breathe. Out in the open, to the horizon, baby, let your love run wild, wild, wild. You gotta get out there and explore, baby, let your love run wild, wild, wild. Hey guys, welcome back. Again, it is Thanksgiving week. It is so exciting. Again, I love this time of year. I know that not everybody celebrates Thanksgiving. There's different holidays, different customs, which is totally cool. Totally respect that. And this isn't actually about Thanksgiving per se. We're talking about gratitude. And I know there's a lot of controversy over, Thanksgiving and the history of the holiday and colonizing and oppression and all that stuff, but we're going to stay away from all the negative and we're going to stay positive on this one. Why do we celebrate? What it means? This is the kickoff for me to the holiday season, and it's such a wonderful time of year. But first, Thanksgiving and what it means to me. What do I love about it? I love Thanksgiving, and you can't talk Thanksgiving without talking about the food, right? The endless tables of food. It's some of my. It's actually like one of my favorite parts, and I do have to say, Thanksgiving tends to get kind of like barreled over by Christmas. It's between like as soon as Halloween is over, it's like boom, everything Christmas, everything, the music and everything. And I'm not going to lie, I am a Hallmark Channel Christmas movie loving person, so it's already on. But I do like to never ever, kind of brush Thanksgiving away because it is a really awesome time to reflect and show gratitude and kind of like towards the end of your year. It's even with like when Black Friday was like a really big thing, it's not really big for me anymore. And people started kind of pushing it towards Thanksgiving night. I was like, man, I don't want to do that because I really want to give Thanksgiving its place because it was always important to me. My family, was a very important tradition for us. So we still celebrated. But the food, man, the food is so good. I look forward to it all year. I do not eat like that normally, but I do look forward to it literally for an entire year. And my favorite Thanksgiving food has got to be hands down my mom's stuffing. She does it outside the turkey and it's absolutely phenomenal. I love it so much. And her apple pie. Her apple pie is unbeatable. It is the best I've ever had. There's nothing that will ever compare to this, and I will eat way too much of it. I may regret that later, but it's so worth it. I definitely don't like cranberry sauce in the can. It's just weird. It comes out like the same shape as the can. Go for it if you love it. I also don't do things, everything that we do is very traditional for us. But to each his own. Eat whatever you want. It is a bit of a gluttonous holiday, and I will be mindful of that. But it's one time a year. I mean, come on. The whole holiday season is kind of like us gorging on sweets and things we're not supposed to eat. So it's fine. But I think one of the most important things for me about that holiday is going home. I know that not everybody has somewhere to go for Thanksgiving, and that to me is one of the sad parts of the holiday if you're alone. But I was always, man, even after I moved out, I went to college and, it was this time of year I loved because I get to go home, and my mom, God bless her, she is 83 and she still does Thanksgiving dinner, like all the planning and the shopping and the putting it all together. And God help me when she passes that torch on because I've actually tried to do it once and God, that's a lot of work. It's so much work. But It is a really awesome time, and I'm so grateful that my mom still does that. It's a crazy time of year, right? When I was a kid, we went to my mom's side of the family, and then my dad's side of the family was like an entire day of eating and family and kids running around, and it was just it's crazy and hectic, but it is so beautiful, and I love it. So that's the most important part. I mean, I think there's a lot of sadness that comes with this holiday and all of the others. People that are gone that we still grieve over, and I call that the empty chair still gets me choked up. We all have something that we're grieving, or losses that we've experienced, and it makes the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, or whatever you celebrate, it makes it very challenging. But keeping the tradition alive and well has always been something that's very important to me and my family. And again, not everywhere everyone has somewhere to go. And I always thought that it was really cool that my mom would always leave room at the table. She always left it open, and even if she didn't know the person, she would invite them to our house. And if I had a friend that didn't have somewhere to go, she would be like, you have to invite them over. If you can't make it home for whatever reason, that's really sad too. But if you do have a place to go and people to be with, no matter who they are, where they are, I would be very grateful. And that's when we get into gratitude and what it actually means this time of year. It really should mean the same thing throughout the entire year. I mean, in our current climate right now, what I'm seeing on social media, between people that I know and people that I love, with clients that I work with people in our communities and everywhere, it's a really intense diminishing of the practice of gratitude. People are complete assholes to each other, complete. And grown ass adults are bullying. They're literally being bullies. And there's a cancel culture and ghosting and selfishness disguised as self-care and a massive disrespect for our fellow humans. And social media just fuels it. And it's just crazy. I mean, people are literally hating each other simply because they have a difference in opinion. Just an opinion. There's hatred over different experiences, different beliefs. I mean, the whole thing. And the concept, though, is that we are all different people. People are going to be different. They're going to experience things differently. And you can't create this level of hatred and expect us to survive. It's just not going to happen. And people are so wrapped up, and I think they feel complacent in complaining and seeing the negative versus the positive. They get complacent in that and stuck in that circle of negative that, they just keep perpetuating it, and I really think that getting back to a full on practice of gratitude is really needed in our world right now. Hence the title, a gratitude adjustment, if you will. And that's when we get into what is the actual definition of gratitude. Well, I'm going to read it because I like to be factual. It's the feeling of being thankful for the good things in life and acknowledging that this goodness often comes from outside themselves. I, of course, as I usually do, think it goes much deeper than that. I mean, that's just a surface level, thing. I think it is absolutely hands down, not just a feeling, but a practice. And it starts with feelings, but it is intentional. It is intentionally practicing gratitude. Now, this is not forced positivity. That's not what we're doing here. that would be very toxic. You've heard that term, I'm sure. It's more of a mindset adjustment. It's not like forcing yourself to be positive, forcing other people to be positive. You've heard the phrases like, look on the bright side, or, all of those kinds of catchphrases. It's much more deep and less simple than that. There's no denying it. Negative emotions, those exist. No suppressing. We're not here to suppress our emotions. No dismissing genuine pain, because that exists. Those feelings are very normal reactions when things happen or to other people. It's how we handle those things, how we cope, how we deal. Because sometimes you can't avoid a feeling or an emotion. You can't avoid it. That wouldn't be healthy either. But back to the definition. When we say outside of yourself, that means other people, higher powers, circumstances. And I think that, yes, much of the goodness in our lives is derived from outside of ourselves. There are ways that the goodness can come from within you. It can be created, if you will. Oftentimes, again, we get stuck in something bad that's happened. It could be a divorce, or you lost your job, which is clearly very plausible in this day and age. I mean, I think if you have a job right now, you should be very grateful. Or maybe you've reflected on something and you're not really where you want to be. Or that reflection didn't show you what you wanted to see or expected or hoped. I mean, that happens. And then we get stuck in a cycle that's not good for us. We get caught up in what other people do or what they don't do. And sometimes our own loneliness we get caught up in, our own head, and you can't say anything else. So practicing gratitude can really kind of pull you out of that stuck place. It can unstick you, if you will. And I think people ask, like, how do I start doing, how do I do this? How do I start? And I always say one of the very first things that you can do is stop looking for the bad. Like, stop expecting that. Stop dissecting whatever is happening and trying to find the bad before you try to find the good, or like superseding anything that could possibly be good. I'm not saying that every situation is the same, because it's not. But, when I ask people, what are you grateful for? If I were to ask you right now, like, what are you grateful for? Typically, the very first things that come out or to mind are, things that we have, or people, or family, relationships. And those are all absolutely wonderful, wonderful things to be grateful for. And we should be. We should be. But I always encourage people to take it just slightly deeper and simpler. And what about your health? If you're healthy, the air that you breathe, water, food, a job, again, these are all things that are amazing and simple that we can be grateful for. And then you can extend that even further and be grateful for the good weather today, or the beauty of nature. Go out for a walk and really immerse yourself in the ability that you can see that and smell that and, feel it. And music and arts and books to read. And, these are all things that we have the luxury of being able to do, that we can do for ourselves, that do not rely on other people, which I think tends to affect us more than anything. Here's some, if you go to reflect more inward. This is more like gratitude that you can create yourself. I can be kind. I can help someone else. I can empathize. I can forgive. I can give. And those are all things that we can do. And we can be grateful that we can do those things and we can choose to do those things. What about simply, I woke up today. I always say that every day is an opportunity to do something, to change something, to feel something. The fact that you woke up today and you can hear this or watch this is a gratitude. And we can be grateful for that. It doesn't always dull the pain, but we can be grateful. You can actually recognize that and be grateful for it. They are seemingly small things, but they are so big. And it's like finding all of the silver linings, if you will. You know, if you ask about a situation, if you ask, what is it trying to teach me? What is the lesson that this particular thing is trying to teach me? You can be grateful for that lesson, and it starts to kind of shift your perspective. If love is gone, as an example, oftentimes you'll be like, you should be happy for the time that you had, and or if someone passes away, it's people say those things, and I know that it is not that easy. There is a grieving process. There is a processing process before you can actually release it and see the gratitude. So it's not something like simple and instant to practice gratitude. And that is why it's so important to do it intentionally as a practice, because it's something that you have to kind of gain over time. These things are not easy. Gratitude and being able to see it like instantly, it is not that easy. It's acknowledging the simple moments, the little lessons. Journal them, write them down, name them. It's very, very important. I name mine. There is so much that I am grateful for. I have all the like things, right? I have the car and the house and a great job that I worked so hard to create. I have amazing kids and a family and a beautiful dog that I love so much that I always talk about. But I have so much, even in my darkest moments, I had so much. Even when I couldn't see it at the time, I had so much. I talk about my family, and one of the things that I am so just incredibly grateful for is the house that I grew up in that I love. My mom still lives there, so I get to spend my Thanksgivings and Christmases in the house that I grew up in. And this year will be 51 years of being able to do that. And it's so wonderful that that house holds so many memories and love and, life, that I get to do that. And that's like right now high on my list of gratitudes. But I have a lot. I have a lot of them. One of the things I really like to do with gratitudes is, what do I have the power to do? I have the power to choose love. I have the power to work really hard for what I want and what I want to build in my life. I choose to be grateful for that. I also choose to be grateful for the not so great things because of what it's taught me and how it's made me stronger. I am grateful that no matter what someone or something does to me, I am getting back up. I'm going to get back up and I'm going to move forward and I'm going to fight. Right? And that I choose to be grateful for. So I have a lot of things and I choose to do that like every single day of my life. Now, does this mean I'm always positive? Absolutely not. That is an absolutely ridiculous concept. There is not a single person that I know that is always positive. We are not, we're human beings. We are not going to always be positive. Again, it is a practice. It is an intentional practice. It's about kind of reeling in the negative, right? You can feel those bad feelings. You can name them. You can acknowledge them. But you got to figure out how to release them before they take you hostage and bury you, because you will stay there. So this practice of gratitude, and in the season of gratitude, let's try to practice as much gratitude as possible. It will release you, right? So write it down. Like I said, acknowledge it, recognize it, name it, and something else that we should be practicing is showing gratitude to others. Oftentimes people think saying thank you is showing gratitude. And yes, always say thank you. It is a wonderful thing to do. But gratitude stems beyond words. Just saying thank you to someone is not going to be a practice of gratitude. I mean, it is a practice, but you can say thank you and turn around and be a total asshole to someone. That is not gratitude. That's hypocrisy, right? So it's more than that. I see this a lot in relationships and lack of appreciation and how we show people our gratitude, not just because they did something like in that moment for us, but what about all the things that they've done for us? I see this in relationships because there's just, and it's hurtful to someone, if you are not grateful for the things that they've done. And I think it hurts relationships. I've seen that happen a lot. And, this practice of gratitude will help you be able to show other people. And how do you do that, right? Reciprocating and giving back or paying it forward is showing gratitude. Show appreciation with respect and consideration, empathy, understanding. They're very impactful ways to show your gratitude for what someone or something else has done for you. And I think it means you got to check yourself, right? Check yourself. So if you're practicing gratitude every day, you are checking yourself every day. You are being mindful. And that is what creates the gratitude. Practice every day. Make it a part of your life. Find your gratitude and live in it. I hope everyone has a blessed holiday and the entire season. And no matter what you celebrate, how you celebrate, who you celebrate with, no matter what your situation is. And thank you so much for joining me today. If you are watching on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I will be forever grateful to you. And you can also listen on Apple and Spotify, and join us next time here on All Things Pink.
You gotta get out there and explore, baby, let your love